Hi guys, so I just brought my huge magazine collection, sports magazine collection out of the wild. Just made a really long video, 46 minutes long, I think. I tried to keep the commentary down, but now I want to get into. I'm really into the history of a lot of these magazines and just history in general. I won the DAR award when I was a kid back in school, so I love history. So I'm gonna run through some of the history of some of the more interesting magazines I have in my collection. So, flip this around. So, real quick, I'll just recap what I did my first video. So, Sports Illustrated came out three different times, three different iterations. First in 1936, I think for 37 or 38 issues. Went under, came back out in 1949 for 5 issues. These are all 5 of the issues. Came out the magazine we know today, third iteration. This is the first issue from August 16th, 1964. The 2 dummy issues, the letter that came out with the first dummy issue explaining what the new weekly magazine was going to be all about. Mostly sent it to advertisers. Second one with the Mickey Mantle card, the only Mickey Mantle card from 1954. This is the first sport magazine from 1946. These are the first 4. Ted Williams, my favorite athlete of all time. His Life magazine from 1941 when he hit 406. Joe DiMaggio from 39. Some random stuff. Some more of that first iteration from 36. I think I got close to 20 of them. So this is the first national publication Mickey Mantle was ever on the cover of. This is Mantle Cloaked in Future Greatness. Some other Mickey Mantle magazines. There's a holy grail of Sports Illustrated, the newsstand Mickey Mantle 56. It's the centerfold variant. This is a cool one because the Yankees spring trained in St. Petersburg for years. I think Mickey Mantle did his whole career. And they would train at Huggins Stengel Field about 5 miles south of here and then go play at Al Lang Stadium about 3 miles south of that. So this is in downtown St. Petersburg. I would actually love to line those trees up and see if there's still a line of palm trees along the water. The water is right here, the bay, Tampa Bay. These palm trees are still there. I don't know if it's the same palm trees, but I would love to try to figure out and line those 2 trees up. That'd be pretty cool. Ted Williams, First SI, one of my favorite magazines. Bing Crosby's personal subscription issue of the only cover Roberto Clemente was on the cover of. Bing Crosby owned 25% of the Pirates at the time. Random Sports. I love this one. Great condition. This is a beautiful first. Willie Mays First Sport magazine. Some people don't like sport. That's a gorgeous magazine. Roger Maris's newsstand when he hit 60. I got the whole first year of Sports Illustrated. I think some of these are going to get the highest grades, top pop. So I'm going to talk about the first Sports Illustrated from 36. So this is Wally Kilrea on the cover. He was he played on the Red Wings, and the Red Wings were midway through their season in 1936, and they won the Stanley Cup that year. And they were the first U.S. team to repeat. They won again in 37, and they were the first team up to that point to ever finish first and repeat it the next year. Finish first, Stanley Cup, finish first, Stanley Cup. And they were the next team to do that was the 1954-56 Detroit Red Wings. So he played on the Red Wings with his brother, Heck Hurricane Kilrea, nicknamed Hurricane because he skated so fast. Their little brother played on the Red Wings a few years later. They had a cousin or a nephew, Brian Kilrea, that played in the NHL. He scored the first goal for the Los Angeles Kings. He coached the, what was the name of that team? The 67s? The Ottawa, no, I'm sorry, I'm booting that. Some Canadian team, like I want to say Ottawa 67s, but anyway, how he was the winningest minor league hockey coach of all time. So Stuart Sheftel was the gentleman that started the first Sports Illustrated. Stuart Sheftel was the grandson of Ida and Isidore Strauss. They owned Macy's, and they went down in the Titanic. Ida, Isidore's wife, could have saved herself, and being rich would have been could have got on any lifeboat, but she refused and insisted on going down with her husband Isidore. And their story has been memorialized in all three Titanic movies. You watch any Titanic movie, and there's a little scene of Ida and Isidore going down together. So how cool is that? So they talk about the SI Jinx. Well, this guy, shortly after this picture, won the Stanley Cup. Wally Kilrea. So this is the four-man bobsled team from the 36 Olympics. There was two four-man bobsled teams that year in Berlin, the famous one that Hitler oversaw. And one of the U.S. four-man bobsled teams came in fourth, and another came in sixth. If anybody knows which team this happens to be, I'd love to hear it. And matter of fact, anything I talk about, like if anybody is related to the Kilreas that happens to watch this, I would love you to comment and let me know your connection on my in my comments. So this guy's got a great story. He was only like 5'11", Ralph Baird, but they won the NCAA championship that year. And he was like a magician with the basketball. Bobby Knight introduced him years later in the IU locker room and said he was Michael Jordan before Michael Jordan. So they talk about the SI Jinx. Shortly after this cover, he got caught point shaving. So is the jinx real? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. That's because this guy died shortly after Marcel Cerdan was the French middleweight champion. Died shortly after this in a plane crash. So, what else can I talk about? So, these are three of my favorite covers. So, Bernie Fuchs was a famous illustrator, and he did 9 covers for Sports Illustrated. This was his last one. And I just love that cover. That is a beautiful cover. And Bernie Fuchs did this painting. And supposedly this is in an SI, in some issue of SI. And if anybody knows, I would love to know what issue of SI. It's Clint Eastwood and Greg Norman at Spyglass Hill at Pebble Beach. Oh, interesting. So, sorry, I forgot something pretty interesting. So, this, of course, is the first cover of the third iteration of Sports Illustrated. So this is Eddie Matthews of the Braves, Wes Westrom, catcher for the Giants, Augie Donatelli, National League umpire. I am pretty good friends with this fella's son. Turns out they grew up. He grew up outside of Pittsburgh, and moved their family to St. Petersburg, here in St. Petersburg, sometime in the late 60s. And he died here, not like 5 miles from where I am right now. And he's buried at Bay Pines. He was a war hero, so he's buried at Bay Pines Veteran Cemetery. I've been to his gravesite, took a picture of this probably this Sports Illustrated at his gravesite. And his brother-in-law owned a bar that's like 6 or 7 miles south of here. And I went in one day, and this is before I even knew who Augie Donatelli was. This cover was blown up and huge poster behind the bar. So I walked up and I'm looking at it, and the guy behind the bar said, "That's the first cover of Sports Illustrated." And I kind of smiled because I got a huge Sports Illustrated collection. And he says, "That's Eddie Mathews." I said, "Yep." I says, "Do you know who's behind the plate?" He says, "Wes Westrum." I thought, holy shit, wow, that guy knows his stuff. I says, "You know who the umpire was?" He says, "Augie Donatelli." I'm like, "Wow, you know your stuff." He says, "Augie Donatelli's brother-in-law or stepbrother owned that bar." And he says, Augie's son, Pat, comes in about once a week. We got to talking. He gave me his phone number. I called Pat. Next thing you know, we're great friends. Pat is a very accomplished artist. He had art hanging up at Raymond James Stadium where the Buccaneers play. And he absolutely loves Bernie Fuchs. And I got him a subscription copy of this magazine. He loves this particular issue. And Pat used to sit, so when he was young and they were growing up outside of Pittsburgh, when Augie would umpire a Pirates game, he would bring one of his two boys to the game. And when Pat would go to sit in the dugout, he used to sit beside Roberto Clemente, and they used to shoot the shit. And when Augie would take his older brother, Dave, who I've also met, Roberto would ask Dave, "Where's little Augie, Pat?" So how cool is that? My buddy, his son, my buddy Pat, used to chew the fat with Roberto Clemente. So this is pretty interesting. So this cover was shot by Walter Yost. He photographed more SI covers than any other photographer. He's got over 300 SI covers. He shot this particular cover. And they talk about this is Walter Yost. And they talk about in his here how to pronounce his name, Walter Yost. Suspend disbelief and pronounce that Yost. Interesting. So this is an interesting magazine because I showed Pat, and it's got a pretty good article about his dad, Augie, in here. He was real happy to see that, and I got him a subscription copy of this magazine. And there's a great article in here. This is the issue where Muhammad Ali loses his right to box, gets fined like $5,000 or $10,000, gets stripped of his heavyweight title, and that's an article in this magazine. But Walter Yost's favorite all-time photograph was this cover here. Walter Yost shot this cover, and I love this cover. One of my favorite. These are probably my 3 favorite covers. But ironically, I was a huge Cowboys fan at the time. This happened when I was 13 years old. I lost $75 on that play. This is the start of the 49ers dynasty and probably the beginning of the end of the Cowboy dynasty. So this is, of course, I so wish this was the first Super Bowl, but this is the second Super Bowl. I was actually born the day the first Super Bowl was played, January 15th, 1967. And it's kind of a pretty bland cover, the first Super Bowl, but this cover is great. This is probably my all-time favorite cover. I've got Jerry Kramer's rookie football card. So, kind of jumping all over the place here, but Augie was a bona fide war hero. Here he is chewing out Casey Stengel. But Augie got shot down. He was a tail gunner in a, hope I got this right, a B-29. He got shot down on the first day raid over Berlin. He was a POW for quite a while. He's got quite a story. He learned how to umpire. He hurt his ankle bailing out of his B-29 when he got shot down. And when he was in the POW camp, they were all playing ball, and he couldn't play because of his hurt ankle, so he umpired. And that's where he cut his teeth umpiring. And then when he came back to the States, he went to umpire school in northern Florida, and he got called up to the big leagues in record time. He's got quite a story. And Brad Griffith is, I swear to you, I had an autographed copy of this for you from his son, and I've met the author. He lives in the area. They both autographed it for you, Brad. But life got hectic for me during the 2 hurricanes. We had to pack up and get out twice. Somehow, some way, I misplaced the book that I got for you that was autographed by his son and the author. But I'll find it. So anyhow, this Sports Illustrated, I know Brad Griffith got a Sports Illustrated channel called Sports History and Magazines, I believe. I heard him say that he has never seen the inside of this magazine. So since I got 2 really nice ones, and this is my crappy reader issue. Brad said he'd never seen the cards. So real quick, I'll show you everybody the cards that comes in this magazine. Jackie Robinson. Johnny Antonelli was the winning pitcher for the Giants in this game. The Braves lost 4-1, I believe it was. Johnny Antonelli for the Giants was the winning pitcher. Teddy Ball game. Willie Mays. So this is pretty cool because that is the first year the Ford Thunderbird came out. It got the middle spread. It was a beautiful car, 2-seater. It had the picture of Rocky Marciano turning Ezra Charles's face to pudding. I saw it. I think they call that the rubber face punch or something. Rocky Marciano supposedly hit harder than anybody. Turned Ezra Charles's face to pudding in that shot. Anyhow, the idea I have for my collection is I would love to see somebody start a magazine museum and buy my collection. But we all know that probably won't happen. But next thing I'd like to see happen is I'd like to see some of these magazines get to where they should be. I'd like to see this hanging prominently wherever the Detroit Red Wings play. I think that'd be pretty cool, right? I mean, I'd love to see somebody in the Calreo family have it if they want to spend the money it would take. But a magazine like this should be. I feel like it should be somewhere prominent, right? So, yeah. So I appreciate you stopping by my channel, and stay tuned. I plan on doing a couple more videos. Thanks. I forgot to say that Neil Leifer took this photograph. He has the second most amount of covers for SI photographers. So I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Neil Leifer. He took the famous shot of Muhammad Ali standing over Sonny Liston in the second fight. That picture was voted the best sports photograph of the 20th century. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Neil Leifer. Thanks.